number of people here said they can't come for all 3 events, but they said they really want to see a recording. So we've never tried this before, but we're going to run, this is like a live webinar at the same time as me presenting to you guys. So that is what Jamie's about to do. So just let me know when you're ready to go there.
Ready to go.
Broadcasting?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to wear a little microphone as well.
Lights, camera.
Yeah, lights, camera, action. Cool. All right, so welcome everyone to our event, the CARTO Data Streams, where we're talking about how businesses are making better decisions with maps and with data. So today, my name is Adam Mullett, and I'm the marketing manager here at NJS. I'm also the CARTO sales team lead in terms of the licensing and solutions. But I'm also joined today by Fernando Carrasco, who is the head of CARTO for Asia Pacific. All the way from Egypt to Tokyo. So it's quite a large area to cover, and Fernando flies all over the world, and so we're very pleased to have him in the room here to give us some information about the things that they've been doing as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a bit of a warm-up for Fernando and basically talk about how businesses are making better decisions with maps and with data, and how you guys can sort of do the same in your businesses. All right, so Bob Robertson, this was a fictional friend of mine, and he came to me with a business problem. Bob's Battery Buzzers is his business, and he is very active in the Victorian market. He's very big in Melbourne, and it's a roadside assistance. So you come when your battery runs out, and you it's like RAC here in WA, and they buzz your battery and you get going again. Now he's moving into a new market. He's coming to Perth, but he doesn't know anything about the geography. Bob's lived in Melbourne his entire life and doesn't know anything about Perth. The geography, he doesn't know the density, he doesn't know the population size, where his customers live more or less. And he's asked me as the analyst, how many cars am I going to need to cover this geography, and where are they going to need to be stationed? So I've got a few pieces of information that is going to help me make this decision. He's got 33,000 existing customers that he's just bought off the failed local company in Perth. So he's bought a local roadside assistance company that's gone under, and they've already got existing customers. They have high expectations. They want to be seen in less than 20 minutes. So from the time they pick up the phone, they want a car ride with them immediately. And the other fact is, like I said, Bob does not know the geography of Perth at all. So the challenge is how many vehicles are required and where will they be stationed when they're waiting for calls. So this is a sort of problem that an Uber or a taxi company is going to have as well, right? So what data do we have? The only thing we have is customer home addresses. All he has is a list of street addresses and names. Now, if we were doing this analysis for real, we would also ask to know who is spending more money than everyone else. So if there's a cluster of people who are spending a lot of money, we can actually put our cars closer to those people. And my hypothesis is that we can use CARTO Builder, that's one of the products that CARTO produces, to analyze the data and decide on where these should be. So Bob says to me, look, Adam, I've been in business a long time. Why do I need to use a map? I've got Excel. I've used Excel to get this far. What's the problem? Why should I do this? So I go through and I tell Bob about why we should use a map. It helps us find relationships in data. Now, you guys have all heard of Jon Snow, I hope, from Game of Thrones. I'm going to talk about a different Jon Snow, much more important, a much more interesting guy. He was a physician in London in the 1850s. And this was at a time when the understanding of how a disease spreads was very, the understanding was not as advanced as it is now. And they didn't know that cholera spread through water. They thought it spread through the air like you catch a cold or some other communicable disease. And so what he did is they had an infection in London, and he plotted, you can see these little black lines, that's one instance at an address of a cholera infection. And he worked out that there was a clustering around this pump. Just put a little red arrow on so you can see the pump. With this data, with this picture, this early use of location intelligence, he was able to tell the local city council that they needed to remove this pump. So they took off the handle off it, and they saw that cholera instances started to decline. And that was really an early use of location intelligence and was very important in our understanding of how diseases are transmitted through water. Another reason you use a map, Bob, is that it helps you visualize your database. This is a picture of Melbourne, and it shows you all of the different buildings and the year in which they were constructed by color. So instantly you get an idea about, normally you'd have, I've cropped off the widgets and the controls for this. Normally you'd have a legend which shows you what each of these colors mean, and you can instantly start to get an idea about how the city grew. And Fernando will actually show you a little bit later an example of that, an animation, which CARTO can do. The other reason you use a map is it removes all barriers to understanding. There's no need to speak the language. Anyone can understand a map, whether you speak Japanese, English, whether or not it has been explained to you at all. Often the picture, if it's a well-designed map, tells a story by itself, so it doesn't require any explanation. The other thing is you don't need to be an expert to read a map. Everyone can do it. Not everyone can read a profit and loss statement or read, some types of graphs, but anyone can read a map straight away. And the other thing is, other than probably babies, anyone of any age can understand a map straight away. And you'll see, even young children of the age of 5 start to arrange things and tell stories to each other using objects in the way of a map. All right, but here's the thing, right? We need data. You can't just make a decision based off the base map, off the streets. That's not going to help you, unless all you want to do is decide how you're going to get from, A to B. And there are different levels of understanding within a map. So you start with your raw data, like with Bob. You're going to have your latitudes and longitudes, and that's not going to tell him anything, because as a list, he can't read these and actually understand them, what they mean. So he needs to put them on a map, and that gives him the information that starts to tell him where these things are in context. Are they in the ocean? Are they on a street? Are they in the desert? Are they close together? Because you can see them on the base map. Next, and this is where maps get really exciting, is when you start to do clustering, when you start to do analysis on those points, and you are able to make decisions based on that. Okay, so types of data that you can map. There is all sorts of data out there in the world, and some of it you've already got. So sales data, everything happens somewhere, and where you made a sale, who you sold it to, they've got an address. Where were you when you sold it? Customer data, where's the head office? Where does the person live? Focus regions, for example, one of our customers, Tupperware, they use CARTO because they have focus regions and they want to know whether or not they're getting enough out of those regions. So using demographics data, you can see the population, the economic vibrancy of an area, and they can say, well, Bob is doing really well in the middle of Brisbane, but John is doing terribly in Adelaide, even though he should be doing a lot more. Okay, then there's public or open data. So things like demographics from the census and other things like that, and boundaries, so statistical boundaries like mesh blocks, SA1s or 2s, or electoral boundaries, state boundaries, suburbs. All these things have meaning, and we can start to make decisions based on that. And then we have premium data, which is where all the interesting stuff happens. So points of interest, many of you would have used Google Maps to get here today, and you probably didn't type in Suite 1A 53 Burswood Road. You probably typed in NGIS and waited to see if it came up. So that's an example of a point of interest, and this is a premium data set. So Google actually gives this out for free for the consumers, but if you're a company, you need to pay for this premium data set. Other premium data sets you can get are things like movement data. So if I'm trying to open up a new, let's just say, service station, and I want to know where I should place it, which side of the road, which part of the intersection does this need to go on, which corner, you can see how many people are going past this intersection. Where are they going? Are they turning left? How fast are they going? What are the number of people who are going past this point? Spend data. You might be deciding whether or not to invest in a new area or to open a new cafe or to do some sort of event there. So knowing what the typical transactions are in an area, whether or not they're consistent, what people are buying. So for example, a cafe, are they just buying, are people just buying coffees in this area, or are they sitting down to eat? And you can start to understand that with spend data. And then of course, imagery. Imagery bring map alive, and they basically allow you to see the world as it is. So whether it's drone imagery or fixed wing imagery like Nearmap, or in satellite imagery, when you start to see your business data overlaid over the real world, you can get real insight out of that. And you've already got half of this data yourself. Okay, so if you've got some sort of CRM or ERP system, you've already got a lot of location data. Like I said, where are your customers? Where were sales when they happened? Which regions did this happen in? Where do your salespeople operate? Or if you're doing some sort of ride sharing or courier company or something where people are moving about, even if you've got any app where you can track the location of your customers, you have location data. All right, so Bob's starting to get it, right? He's starting to ask more questions. He's gone from saying no to saying, how can we use this, right? And I say, Bob, you can do all sorts of things with maps. One is stakeholder engagement. So simply taking the situation as it is and explaining it to the public. And that might be, where is the fire moving? Or how is my commercial real estate region going to change the way that you do business? What's the distance to the port? So this could be investor relations. Sales team management, like I said, understanding your sales regions and then using demographics to say, are we doing well enough in this area? Do we have the adequate penetration here, or have we even overinvested? Competitor and market analysis, understanding, like I said, if you wanted to open up a BP, perhaps you want to plot all of the Caltexes to make sure that you're not too close to them. You can also use it for remote sensing, which is my favorite fancy word for seeing something that's not where you are. And basically you can use things like daily satellite imagery or, like I said, Nearmap to see things that are far away from you. That could be a before and after scenario, like you've seen on the news probably the maps of the Guatemalan volcano, which is blowing up, and you can see the movement of the lava as it goes. That's an example of a before and after. Or in Western Australia, they're using it to detect fires that are occurring in the desert and to be able to react to that very quickly. How fast is it moving? Is it just a tiny fire? Does it need our attention? Other things that you can do with remote sensing is quote on jobs without leaving the office. So classic one is solar panel on scaffolding. So these industries have been revolutionized by the fact that they can talk to a customer on the phone and give them a ballpark price without even getting off the phone. They can give it to them instantly. Oh, I can see that your roof space could handle up to 8 panels. And I can see that you don't have solar panels, but your neighbor does. And of course, incident verification. For example, Queensland Transport and Main Roads, they're a customer of ours, and we have worked with them to build dashboards around incident verification on the road. So their traffic management center, they want to know where a crash has occurred so they can respond to it very quickly, because anything that, any incident that causes cars to bank up has a measurable impact on the Queensland economy. So they use Google Maps and Google Traffic to, within a 3 to 5 minute window, be able to identify an incident, which they can then verify through other means. For example, their camera systems, their road loops, and so on, and respond to it very, very quickly. And of course, safety. Like I said, with all these remote sensing things, you don't need to send someone out into the desert for 3 hours of driving or into a dangerous situation. And finally, operations, Bob. You can use it for mobile team management. For example, a company like Chauffeur might use this to know where their cars are, to be able to work out efficiency, to be able to get them to the customers as quickly as possible. Asset management optimization, you might work for the water corporation and want to know what's the quickest way that I can go and inspect all of my pumps or all of my above ground piping. What's the quickest way I can get around there? Or if I send out a crew all the way to Pinjarra to maintain this piece of equipment, is there something close by in Byford that they can go to on the same journey? And then site selection. So Fernando will tell us more about that later, but there is a lot of things that you can do around supply chain management, optimization, moving your warehouses, and so on. All right, very quickly about NGIS. So we're a spatial consultancy. The relationship between us and CARTO is that we are a partner. We're a local partner of CARTO, so we can help with things like procurement of their services, their software. We can also help you integrate it into your workflows and also train you on it. But our main, what we do at NGIS is visualization and analytics. We help customers who have specific problems work out what they can do with their data. So sometimes they don't have the skills in-house, and we can help them do that. Integration services, you might have an SAP instance and you want to link it to your Salesforce, and then you want to link it to your app, and then link it to your website, all using a map. That's something that we can do, and it's something we do every day of the week. Application development. So one story that we're particularly proud of at NGIS is Swan Systems. And Swan Systems is an Internet of Things startup out of Perth. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but these guys take flow meter data, soil moisture data. They have probes on the farms, weather data, satellite imagery to see the biomass of what's growing there. And all these data streams are brought into their platform, which we help them create. And it gives the farmer or the turf manager, for example, if you're working for the local council, do I need to put more water on my grass? Do I need to water my orange grove more to get the optimal output, knowing the crop type and the soil type, knowing that next week it's going to rain? I've got a limited amount of water. Water costs money. I've got a water allocation. What should I do? They also do nutrients as well. So should I add more fertilizer to this? That's a really cool story, and we have that on our website if you're interested. They also are very active in the Perth market. Products, so like I said, we deal with things like CARTO, Google Maps, that is, lots of other software packages as well. Finally, we do capacity building and technical training. So that's going into organizations and helping you understand how you can use maps and building that internal capability. On top of that, doing the technical training, like this is where you have to click in this software package in order to get this result. So using the software itself. All right, now it's your turn. I'm not going to tell you how many cars Bob needs, but there is a demo that you can do yourself. It takes about 15 minutes, and you can download it for free from our website, and I will send this link out to you after the event. But yeah, it's very easy, and when you sign up, you get the CARTO account, you get to see straight away how I can actually answer that question for myself very quickly. All right, so please, if we're not already connected, please add me on LinkedIn. What I'm going to do now is hand over to Fernando. So like I said, Fernando, I'll introduce him again. He's the head of CARTO for Asia Pacific, and he's been traveling around with us in Australia recently. So thank you very much for coming, Fernando.
Thank you. Hello, good morning, guys. Thank you for coming this early. And there's definitely a lot going on here in the location intelligence space. And I want to try to shed some light on the things that we are doing, and hopefully we will reward you with some interesting stuff for getting up this early. Okay, let me change the slides presentation. All right, here it is. Okay, so as a way to wake your minds up, we're gonna have a little bit of small competition. Okay, so these two numbers, you guys have to guess what these numbers mean. Okay, obviously it can be many things, but I'll give you a hint. They are related to why CARTO is a project, or why CARTO is growing so fast. It is related to what CARTO does, which is using location data to make better business decisions. Okay, so with this in mind, who wants to take a guess what 80 and 10 mean? Anyone wants to take a guess? Okay, Adam or Jamie.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll take a guess.
This is the third time we do this group.
Ooh, well, I hope I get it right. It's the third time I'm seeing it. Is it 80% of businesses have location data and 10% are using it?
Yeah. Well, more. Yeah, almost there. 80% of the data is generated today has a location element. Okay, so whether it's a continent, a country, or a city, or the exact long lat coordinates, or the proximity to a beacon, that has a location component in it. You know, like all IPs has a location element in it, right? So what I'm saying is not like an overstatement. However, only 10% of the business, 10% of this data is used in business decisions. Okay, and that's exactly what justifies the existence of CARTO. What we do is we make better business decisions out of this huge amount of location data. Okay, so that's exactly what we do, and we do this. How what we offer to bridge this gap is users and frameworks in general to build applications to make better business decisions. Okay, another interesting slide. This is a study by Gartner that is also justifies the excitement about all this location intelligence. Is this chart that says that from 2017 to 2000, gather in different organizations in different verticals. So just a way to understand where you guys are coming from. I was talking before the event with people in car companies, mobility companies, and marketing companies. But is anyone coming from the banking and insurance? Nobody? Transports and logistics? Okay. Okay. Cities and governments? No, public, okay. Telcos? Real estate? Okay, real estate, health and pharma, and retail, and manufacturing, no, right? Okay. Okay, so yes, I have a little bit of an idea. Okay, so this in this slide, I'm gonna show. Okay, another question. Anyone came last year? Last time we did this event in Perth, so you guys are all new. Oh, great. So. Okay, so these are the new logos that we've brought into CARTO from last event till now. Okay, so here really we can see like MasterCard, Vodafone, Bain Company, JLL, Posterscope, Waze, Siemens, a lot of new logos that we have brought into our platform in less than a year. Okay, so this is again is exciting times. And the good thing is that some of these logos, like MasterCard, Vodafone, they are not only CARTO customers; they are also data partners. Okay, so they have a lot of data that they convert into insights, and those insights come into CARTO platform, and other users can use their data into their dashboards. Again, this comes back to Adam's slide about you have business data, you have open data, and then you have premium data. So most of these data, MasterCard, Vodafone, are premium data that if you pay for it, you can use it to enrich your dashboards. I will talk about more of these private data sets in a later slide. Okay, so these are the users, or the different 4 types of users of CARTO. Okay, on the one hand, we have a business analyst that typically they use location intelligence self-service, CARTO Builder, which is our user interface to build these dashboards without having to code. And then we have developers who custom develop applications on top of our APIs. Also data scientists who typically they are in the research stage, they are modeling, they're finding the right algorithm, they're fine-tuning, they're finding parameters and different A/B testing with different algorithms. So we have an interface for them as well. They can, if in a Python environment, they can embed CARTO maps into that Python environment. At the same time, they can use all our data enrichment functionality from a Python environment. Okay, so I don't know, is there any data scientist or anyone who spends more than 1 hour a day in front of a Python environment? A little bit? Okay. And then business teams that are the end consumers of all the dashboards, all the models that are built on top of CARTO. Okay, so they are the end consumers, the one who are checking it more regularly. This is CARTO platform, okay? This is all the components of CARTO platforms. We have a geodatabase, we have data streams, and we'll talk about data, we have database connectors. And then on top of that, we have two interfaces that our solutions use. It can be development interfaces like JavaScript component, mobile SDK, and also an interface for CARTO frames for Jupyter and data science. Okay, and on top of this platform, what we have is the solutions. Okay, and these are the solutions that I will show you later. Okay, solutions are highly customized solutions that solve specific business needs or problems that a company might have. Okay, I will show you Vodafone Analytics, the data monetization, I will show you Traffico, and some other customized solutions for site selection and indoors retail management. Okay, so this is important. It's all about custom applications. So the typical workflow is we understand, we sit with a client, or CARTO, or in this case, our partners. We sit with our customers and say, we understand the problem they are having, what location data they have, and we try to figure out what other location data could be interesting to solve that particular problem. Okay, so once we have identified that, we build a custom solution. Okay, that is typically in the form of a dashboard. Okay, we bring all the data that is required. We create the algorithms, and we come up with this dashboard. Okay, as a customized solution. Okay, so this is important. It's all about understanding your problems and bringing the data we need and coming up with an interactive dashboard, and a dashboard that it's solving the problem and it's telling you the story that you need. We have come up to build this customized dashboard. We have a development center that you can use to build this dashboard. So there's a lot of code, there's a lot of examples. There's a nice CARTO support that will help customers and partners to use all these development capabilities. These are the CARTO frames. Okay, there's only one person who's using it, but yeah, basically this is a CARTO environment, and we can use all the data enrichment functionalities. Okay, this is open data already in CARTO, and here we can see that we can display that, and here we will see there's a map, and it's nicely embedded into the development environment, into Jupyter notebooks. Okay, so this is a map in a static mode, and this is another map it's interactive, so you can zoom in, zoom out, and it's all there. Right? Data scientists, they love this environment because they can bring all the libraries, all the modules they want, and they don't like changing tabs or changing windows. It's all there into that environment. So very comfortable for data scientists. This is a screenshot of CARTO Builder, which is that development for business analysts. Okay, so with this application, this solution, you can build a dashboard without having to code. So typically, this is a tool that our partners use to have a draft of the final dashboard. Okay, so without having to code, you just bring the data, you connect to different data sets, you put the widgets you want, you select, you define the layers you want and the analysis you want, but you don't need to code, and you build the dashboard, you build an advanced dashboard in a matter of minutes. Okay, you don't need to be an expert, it's more for business users. So this will be like at the drafting stage, and then Once this dashboard has been validated by the client, then is when we typically go and build something which is more customized, but requires a little bit of coding. Okay. So announcements. This is announcements that I had prepared just in case someone had been here in the previous event. So in this case, like you guys or a new still, these are important things that recent things in the CARTO project. So the first one is the launch of Airship. In the past, we were, I mean, in the past, I mean, even now, but CARTO was strong at building and styling advanced maps. Okay, so we had different data sets, different layers, so we could style. We even had like a styling language to style maps. Okay, however, we were missing other contextual widgets. Okay, like this one. So now, apart from the map, you can have all these widgets. Okay, the charts, bar charts, line charts, selectors, text, video. Okay, embedded into the map. Okay, so that gives you the full picture. So you have the map, and then when you move the map, and when you click on these selectors, the map reacts to that action. So it's all interconnected. Okay. The good thing is that it all follows the same design philosophy. Okay, and that is important. Sometimes if you start bringing modules from different projects, again the message is not clear because it's different design concepts. So here it's all about the same look and feel and running against the same database. So the development of the dashboard is much easier and much more efficient. Okay, this is also very important. New data streams. CARTO, apart from having a set of APIs and tools to build maps, in the past people were saying, "Oh, we have this problem, but I don't have the data. What data can I use to solve this problem?" Okay, so now CARTO, apart from having all this nice set of APIs, SDKs, and solutions, CARTO is moving towards a data platform. Okay, a data platform means that data providers, premium data providers, and open data providers bring the data into CARTO, so our users can use that data into their analysis. Okay, so in Australia we already have ABS. Okay, so all the ABS data, almost 8,000 measurements, disaggregated at very low level, are available. Okay, and at the same time, we are bringing more data streams. Like for example, credit card consumption. This is by MasterCard. The example I told you in the beginning. MasterCard is offering credit card spend and consumption data, okay, for 9 state territories, statistical area 4, 3, 1, and mesh blocks. So almost 350,000 mesh blocks where you can access data about credit card consumption, comparing one quarter to another quarter, what type of items they're buying, the average ticket size. Okay, so all that is already in CARTO, so you can use it to your dashboard. So definitely, when it comes to site selection, it's important because if you say I want to open a chain, where should I open the following McDonald's? Okay, or the following Hungry Jack. Okay, so so it's important to know where people are spending that data and what are the patterns, if they're increasing, if they're decreasing in different categories. Okay, so a lot of interesting information. Then telco data. Telco data is also very important because telcos, they know where all the mobile phones are, okay, or at least their subscribers, okay, and they also know the profile of every subscriber. They know gender, they know age range, they know different profiles, they know where they live, they know where they work. Okay, they have a lot of this information, so they are aggregating all that data and they are selling those insights. So they're able to tell where people are in real time. Okay, if there's an event, they will see that all these mobile phones are getting together into some area. They also know mobility patterns like origin and destination, people who work here from where they are coming to work. Okay, so all this type of data telcos they are having, and they are monetizing that. Okay, in Australia, we have we are in advanced conversations with the main telco operators, and I guess this is a forecast, but in a couple of months we will be having already telco data in our platform, so you will be able to see in this area people who is coming to this area and they're buying shoes, for example, from where they are coming from or where do they live. Okay, so all that type of data will be available very, very soon. So stay tuned because this is going to be also a big announcement. Okay, so waste data is already available out there, and Google has a lot of premium data that also can be used. So a lot of new data streams. It's all about bringing new data streams to enrich your private or business data sets and creating nice dashboards. Okay, this is what CARTO is all about. A bit of a video about Mastercard 2. Okay, so this is the tool that Mastercard built, okay, on top of CARTO. Okay, so behind that, all this is built on top of CARTO, and then you have different filters. You can say, you can filter by ticket size, you can filter by region, by category, okay, and then the map will displays the areas and with different colors depending on the intensity. Okay, so this is the tool. You can buy this data from Mastercard, okay, and monetizing that, but you can also access that data through CARTO. Okay, the difference is that if you buy the data through Mastercard, you have access to this tool, which is very cool, but you visually can see where the areas that are having high consumption on, I don't know, shoes or foods and bars and restaurants. However, if you use it through CARTO, you can bring it to CARTO and you can start creating your dashboard, overlaying where your assets are. Okay, you can also bring telco data, you can bring waste data, so you bring all the data sets and you dig a highly customized dashboard. Okay, so that's the two different approaches. Okay, okay, another announcement is CARTO Vector Library. Okay, this is also very cool because there's a trend in creating maps towards vector-based maps. Okay, so here these blocks are rendered in the client. Okay, the difference between a raster map and a vector map is that the raster map is the server, the one that renders the map, and the map is made at different times. So we render and we send those tiles, images, to the browser. Okay, when it's a vector map, we send the vector information of these tiles, we send it to the client, and the client is the one who renders those. Okay, so the user experience is much better, everything is much smoother, and the most important thing, you can have this type of animations. Okay, this is how the city of Denver different developments over time, so we can see which areas, and then areas are getting faster development. Okay, so this type of animation is a few lines of code, okay, and you can see how impactful in terms of visually and the story that you can tell just by showing a map like this. Another example of is this tornado. The contrast is not very good, but you can see that depending on the speed and I guess of how tornadoes are moving. Okay, so again, this it's very, very cool, and at the same time, it tells a story. It tells the message that you're trying to tell. Okay, and then now solutions. Okay, I'm gonna show you live. Okay, I will show you. I show them live, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'll show them live. So, for example, this is Vodafone Analytics. Again, this is an example of using telco data. Maybe, Adam, shall we switch off this light? Yeah, much better. So this is a tourism analysis application. Okay, so look at all the things a telco operator can tell a government about how tourists are behaving. Okay, so this is in Barcelona. So if we click in Sagrada Familia, for example, we click here, and now so the information is telling you people visiting this Sagrada Familia, which is a very famous tourist spot, sightseeing in Barcelona. 48% women, men, the age population pyramid, okay? If they are local and sporadic, national sporadic, commuters, national tourists or international tourists, okay? So we can see high number of international tourists coming to this. Visitors from neighborhood, municipalities, provinces or countries, from which neighborhoods, from which municipalities, from which provinces, from which countries. Okay, so we see that most of them are coming from France, USA, Italy, United Kingdom. Okay, if they are coming weekends or weekdays. Okay, so the whole analysis just for visitors coming in during weekdays or during the weekend or during the evening. Okay, so this is amazing information. Okay, that tourism planners and government authorities can get just by looking at this data. And this is all based on mobility data from telco operators. Any question about this?
Fernando, so you buy the data from telco operators of the movements of their customers, then upload it to the database.
Yes. Yeah. Here. Okay. It's a good question. We still don't know how we're going to go about this. Okay, because as I said, we are discussing in advanced conversation with telco operators here, but we still don't know. In my experience, talking with all the telco operators in other countries, the approach is different. Every telco has its own approach. Some telco operators, they say, oh, this data is mine, so we will be the ones who will build these dashboards to clients. Okay, so if you want to build a dashboard for that, you have to talk with them, and then they will buy a CARTO account and they will create a dashboard for you. Some of the telco operators, they even have APIs where you can call the API and say, give me the origin and destination of international tourists during weekends, people coming to the airport, landing in the airport, international tourists coming to the airport, to where do they tend to go? So you call the API, you bring it to CARTO, and then you visualize it.
This API, what is that stand for?
API is like a application programmer interface, so it's a way to access their data. It's a standardized way to access their data.
Have you got any indication as to what sort of data you're likely to get from Australia?
Well, mobility data, like origin and destination for sure, okay, and different age range and demographics. But as far as the discussions we've had here, Australia is a bit more restricted in terms of what type of data the telcos can give. For example, in Singapore, which is a bit more relaxed in this space, you can say, I want to know how residents with a Malaysian passport, how they are moving, so they can tell apart by nationality, okay, or by passport, which here apparently is not allowed. Okay, so That again, that depends on the local regulations, but for sure, origin and destination, real-time information about where people are, okay, which is very important. For example, for a taxi company, right? How to, become more competitive against Uber. Uber, they know where the potential demand is, which is basically the users who have the application installed, okay, and they know where this potential demand is all the time because they are tracking them all the time through the application. However, taxis, they don't know. If today there's a concert there, okay, taxi companies don't know that they should send taxis there. But if we build a dashboard with real-time telco data, we can have a heat map of where the potential demand is for taxis. So, and taxi companies can send the taxis wherever there's potential demand. So this is another application that you don't need to you don't need to you just bring all the data, no need to know the nationalities or anything, and it will give a competitive advantage to taxi companies, for example. Okay, so a lot of opportunities in that space, and I think this is going to be, I mean, it's been big in Spain where we are doing this, in Germany, in the UK, because every business could be improved by using telco data, mobility telco data. A bank, where do the customers live, where do they go? You can even use location to have a more accurate profile, risk profile, therefore calculate the premium for an insurance company. Okay, so taxi companies, retailers, smart city operators, public administrations, infrastructure planners. Okay, so all those could be improved by that.
You got access to Singapore data.
Okay, so we are in the process of including that Singapore data as well. So you can guess with what telco operators we are talking about. All right, any more questions about this? Okay, so let me show you some other solutions. For example, traffic. While traffic loads, I'll show you about SalesQuest. SalesQuest is a sales optimization tool where we connect to, here you have, we connect to the different CRMs, so Microsoft, Dynamics, SAP, Salesforce, okay? And so we bring all the information about customers, opportunities, leads, okay? And with that, we do location intelligence, okay? So we increase the win rate opportunity. We can design optimal territories or equal opportunity territories, okay? For example, sometimes if you're a sales leader, you want to assign territories to different sales executives, but you want to give them all the same opportunities. Otherwise, it's going to be internal disputes. Okay, so with location intelligence, you can do this type of region definitions, making sure that they don't have same number of opportunities. In the past, this has been by zip code and by other conventions, but they were not aligned with the business opportunity. Okay, so that we will help doing that. Increase sales productivity and reduce the cost of sales. Okay, we can even recommend how a series of customers that a particular sales executive should visit in one day in an optimized way, even taking into account traffic. So the sales executive gets to the office and say, today I have to visit this, and that. So this is the optimal route. giving priority to bigger customers or customers who are in a later stage in terms of opportunity. Okay, so all these sales optimizations are a lot of location intelligence, and this is something that you can do with CARTO. Okay, let me show you the live dashboard. So here you see we're seeing different type of customer type, standard, premium, flagship. You can see the last time it was visited, so we can have all these filters. If it's a new business, we're going to focus only on new business opportunities. Okay, and we can see, like, when we zoom in, we can see where all the customers are. So this gives me a more integrated view, a more view from the top on what's happening in the sales team. You can also filter by country or by sales Excel. So you drag and drop here. They should filter you all the opportunities, all the customers are taken care of by these customers. Okay, so here this is just an example on of what we can do in terms of integration with Salesforce, okay, or Salesforce or CRMs in general. Okay, so this is the dashboard. Let's see if we can load now. Here it is. This is Traffico. It's a solution for traffic management. Okay, so here the idea is traffic costs a lot of money to the economy in general. I think it was $23 billion a year just in the city of Los Angeles. Okay, so you're able to make better decisions. You're able to improve by 1%. Okay, the traffic and the impact, that's a lot of savings. Okay, so for these cases, tools like these that enable you to take action, okay, when there's an incident or to plan better infrastructure are very important. Okay, so in this case in particular, we build this dashboard with data coming from Waze and from different sensors that the municipality of Madrid has. Okay, so at this level of zoom, we can see that all the services, there's no incident, there's no red. This is because it's early in Spain now, so there's nothing much going on. But when we start zooming in, we start seeing disaggregated all the incidents. Okay, so if you click on it, we can see there's an alert. Okay, there's some level 3 average speed of 2.2 kilometers an hour for 284 meters, and it's causing 1.6 minutes in delay. Okay, here we can filter. Now it's censored by the municipality only, or we can say just by Waze. So this is what Waze API is giving us. Or we can have both at the same time, or we can have different filters here. This is just an example. Obviously here, if you have other sensors, if you have other data sources like TomTom or like Google or any other satellite imagery car counting that you might have in real time, you can bring them all here, okay, and have an integrated view where you just filter, and we visualize it in a way that is meaningful, and we have in a way that it's the business users and the business and even the citizens can see this in a nice way. So we can also see forecast, okay, something that the forecasting algorithm has predicted, and also historic analysis. This is important because it gives you from this time to this time what was the situation. Okay, for infrastructure planning, you want to know, compare like today with 1 year ago, or what with 1 month ago, or before that this infrastructure was built, as a way to justify the impact that had. So again, this tool is very good to run this historic analysis or historic comparison in a very visual way. Okay, any questions about this? Okay, so let's show then Reveal. Reveal is a site selection tool. Let me show you the slides first. Okay, so I don't know if you know, but opening McDonald's store costs between $1 million and 2.5, something like that. Okay, and this you can have a similar comparable to other stores. Okay, so here the question is, when you're going to make an investment of $1 million or $2 million to a store, you have to be very careful where you go. Okay, because it's not something you can change overnight. Okay, so bringing different data sets, we are able to reduce the risk of failure, of picking the wrong decision, and having deeper performance insights, okay, without relying so much into Excel. Okay, so for that, we created Reveal, and I'm going to show you how it works. So it's another web-based tool, so we log in. And here we can see data sets available. Okay, so we have economics, demographics, points of interest, housing price, and pedestrian traffic. Okay, so these are the data sets that we are having, and these are the insights we are getting. We are able to analyze a store. We are able to compare two stores. Okay, this store compared to this other store, to see where the competitors are and to compare with them, and to predict the success of a new store. Okay. Again, this is a solution. This is just, well, it's not a solution. It's an example of a solution. Okay. So most probably, if we walk to another retailer here in Australia, we will have to sit and see exactly what problems they have and what other data sets are available. Maybe we can have credit card consumption, okay, by MasterCard, or maybe we can have telecom mobility data. Okay, so all this is highly customizable. So what I'm showing now is just, again, one example on how we can do things, but all this is highly customized. Okay, so let's go, for example, to analyze the stores. So we go to analyze store. This is in the UK. And for example, we go to London. So we select this store. Okay, we have different catchment areas, so areas of influence around that particular store. So 6-minute driving distance is telling you the total expenditure, okay, in that area of influence. The business area, highest sales in fashion and bars and restaurants. So you know what type of area this is. It's bars and restaurants and fashion. Okay. We're able to say the typical household. It's one person, okay, per household, per household. And marital status and education is single with superior status. So we can see that it's a high income area where single people live with nice jobs and okay. So very easy to see in one side the situation of that particular store. But we can also do compare stores. Okay, so we go to compare store insights. We can say I'm going to compare this store with this other store. Okay, so we already can see difference. Okay, total expenditure, okay, is 700 versus 2,000. So it's 3 to 4 times bigger in this store as compared to this store. Okay, so we can already see that they are talking different market sizes. In terms of business areas, both are quite similar. Is fashion, bars and restaurants, and the other one is fashion, bars and restaurants, so same story, and same for the customer type. Okay, in terms of demographics, they are different. The first one is male, less 24 hours, while the second one is female from 25 to 34. Okay, and so on, right? Points of interest, we can say the first one is only 14, the second one is 36. So again, this is richer or more denser in terms of activity or points of interest. And in terms of most frequent categories, the first one is pub, bicycle, and bicycle parking, when the second one is bicycle parking and restaurant. So a little bit similar, but not exactly the same. Okay? With this, you can also do similar analysis to compare competitors. Okay, so you can know where your competitors are. Okay, and see how you are positioned and compared to them. And also predict the performance of one store. So basically, we say, okay, I want to open a store here. So you click there, and you are able to say what is the market, the possibility of that store to succeed compared to other stores. Okay, so these are the type of insight that you can get with an application like this. But again, this is just an example of a solution. Okay, if we walk and here with NGIS, we're talking with some companies in that space, and it's all about sitting together, seeing exactly what they want, what insights, or knowing what's in their mind, what variables are important factors for their success, and then us trying to find different data sets that we can shed some light to create a customized dashboard. Okay, because this dashboard is something you don't use only once to open a new store. It's something you have to keep using continually to open the following store or to see how the decisions you made are performing over time.
So if you're something that you put for like that box, so if you're something
No, this is for one. This is an internal tool. This is an internal tool that we build for one customer. Okay, and now we use it. It's probably a white label. There's no, I know the data is not real. And we show it here as an example of something we could be for similar customers. It will be the start point, but as I said, maybe it's interesting to bring MasterCard data, or because MasterCard data is an announcement of the past 1 month. Okay, so when we build this, MasterCard data wasn't there, telco data wasn't there. Okay, so it's all about bringing more layers and visually finding the best spots and trying to find patterns of people with high consumption in bars and restaurants and high traffic at night, high foot traffic at night. That's the success key for my business. Okay, so then you visually can see what other areas you're finding the same pattern. Okay, so again, but these are expensive tools. I mean, obviously, when you're going to open or when you're managing hundreds of stores, okay, you need to have informed decisions. Okay, so typically it's a tool that the user keep it internally because it's valid, it's strategic. All right, more questions?
Using the example of these two stores that you talked about, very editors.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get that information? So firstly, you have to compare the information. I then say I want to set this dashboard of information on there. And once you compare it to that, like competitors, is it privacy issues in those?
As long as it's, I mean, in this case, the location of the competitor is public information. You go to Google and that information is there. Imagine that you're comparing, if you're comparing McDonald's to Hungry Jack's, right? So you are McDonald's, imagine. So you know where your stores are, that's your information, and the location of your competitors is public information because you just go there, get the GPS there, you go to Google. So you just have to manually or through an API bring that information of point to see to your dashboard. But there's no privacy. Actually,
It's always
no.
some dollars up there. And you must know what the competitors annual income was.
No.
Where they were sourcing their dollars from.
You could find that out.
But even that is open information. And in most of the public companies, what you don't know is imagine that you have McDonald's in Australia. You know how much McDonald's is with the revenue, but it's aggregate. You don't know it by store, right? Obviously, that's not all information. But now, you remote sensing, what Adam was saying, and how people are using satellite imagery to predict the sales of a particular mall. So basically, they get satellite imagery, they start counting cars automatically with algorithms in the morning, at night, and so on. So they're able to find an estimate of, depending on the number of cars in the parking lot, okay, how much is the sales of that. Okay, so obviously this is an estimate, it's not a reported sales value, but they're finding ways of trying to get an estimate of all those. But it's all about being creative on what data you can bring to your dashboard, what data is publicly available, that obviously, in the law of getting a hacker to find how much that store is.
I just wondered whether you had that.
Yeah.
You've shown a few examples of how the product's used in Europe. Has there been any indications of the GDPR rolling out last month, with the likes of using MasterCard and telco data still coming back to the privacy side of things? I imagine there's some data that you won't be able to use now.
I'm not an expert in the field, but I have some ideas. I mean, CARTO mainly is the GDPR makes a distinction between data controllers and data processors. So CARTO is a data processor because what our customers bring to our accounts is something that's out of our control. So basically, our customers are the ones who have to be careful with what data they bring and what insights they have, and what data they process. So it's all about the data that our customers bring to CARTO. They have been consent to use the data into our account and all that. So we are data processors. Okay. Then MasterCard data. In that case, I think I'm not an expert in the field, right? But GDPR distinguishes between anonymized data and identifiable data. Okay, so in our MasterCard data is totally anonymized data. You cannot identify who bought that. Okay, so it's all about people with this age range, with this demographic, with this profile, are buying shoes in that particular at night or during the day. Okay, so you cannot identify anybody. So it's quite anonymous. And GDPR doesn't apply to anonymous data. Okay, but again, we're talking about a very ample term, and we could discuss about it. Okay, but yeah, there are many angles of this, and definitely if affected, we are compliant with all that. We have a strong plan a couple of weeks ago to finalize all the GDPR thing. Yeah.
Are there any more questions for Fernando? Just conscious of time, I want to wrap up so everyone who needs to go can go. One question that's come up on the other events is how does it work in terms of licensing or pricing, right? Mm-hmm. And there basically the answer to that is there are three interfaces to CARTO. There's the CARTO frame, which you guys saw before, which was the code and then the map that was embedded in it. That's for data scientists. There's CARTO Builder, which is the rapid dashboarding tool where you don't have to touch the keyboard, but just with point and click, you can make a really interesting map and get some ideas. And then there's CARTO Engine, which are the APIs that allows you to build custom solutions, using a developer. For example, we can develop things for you or a web developer, any standard web developer will get your website should be working out. Those are the three interfaces, and they basically is an annual subscription model, like most SaaS models these days. Most products come like this. That's generally how it works. And where NGIS gets involved is you wanted to use it and you didn't know how, you can help you implement it. If you knew how to use it, you're an expert. All we do is help you secure the license. So It can be a lot or a little from us, but CARTO is a technology provider, and then there are these three interfaces. Any other questions before we break up? No worries. All right, well, I invite you to stick around. There's still food out the back and more coffees. You're welcome to stay here as long as you want. And Fernando and I will be here to answer any questions.
Yeah, if there's anything you want to discuss, something you want to discuss in public, or private to your business or anything, we can talk about it now, or you can just contact us later, or yeah, we're going to stay around.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Fernando.